Hello campers, my name is Paul Hughes, I am the Lord of Leisure, and welcome to me standing in an empty cinema at 3 o'clock on a Sunday morning. 'Cause yay! Welcome to another Aftermath video where I have just watched Justice League, which is I suppose the DC Universe's ensemble answer to the Avengers at this point, that Marvel have pretty much been printing money off of all this time. Obviously, there's been already a shit ton of reviews about this. A lot of people have turned around and said, nah, it's absolute bullshit. A lot of people have turned around and said that there's various things that are wrong, that, well, it kind of goes downhill from the goodwill that Wonder Woman managed to garner the DC Universe by not being rubbish. Now, I have to be honest, I didn't hate this. You know, we're not approaching Batman v Superman levels of anything terrible here. Absolutely not. And in fact, this is a massive change of direction for them. The reason why I say that is because this is definitely a bit more light-hearted. There is definitely character development in various parts where, the team are talking to each other, starting to get to know one another, working together, all the different various heroes, some of which we've only had the advert for in Batman v Superman, and obviously a couple others have shown up a bit more. Now, unfortunately, one of the biggest spoilers has been pretty much given away of a certain deceased superhero coming back to life, miraculously, through unfortunately the same effing plot device that they used in Batman v Superman to do things. Yeah. I'm going to be very much skirting around the story such as it is. The big bad guy was a CGI monster called Steppenwolf, and I kept thinking of music for some reason, and he wants to destroy the world because of past, maybe he didn't get hugs as a child, or he, burnt some toast one time and that pissed him off and sent him down a spiral of as you do. It probably leads me onto some of the significant problems, is that there's quite a lot of holes in things. I mean, even for a ridiculous superhero comic book thing like this, there is a sense that you'll carry on, as long as it's good enough, it'll carry you along. But there's various different things that I was wondering, hang on, how did that happen? And on the odd occasion, why did it happen? Because there's some things that just happen because of, I don't know what, honestly. It was just, it was there. And I get the sense that they didn't really, you see, this is still going to stem from all the problems that they had with rushing a lot of this stuff through. Batman v Superman obviously was them trying to rush in on, Warner Brothers and DC obviously trying to rush in on Disney/Marvel's money making machine, and this still suffers from that to an extent, because obviously we're seeing characters like Aquaman, Cyborg, and the Flash the second time, I guess, but Wonder Woman has now got fleshed out a bit more. Batman, obviously, he's being a grumpy old motherfucker in this, but, he started to lighten up a little bit and actually try and do things for hope and justice and and yeah. So, all in all, what can I say about this? I don't. It wasn't terrible, actually. I wouldn't say that they've ironed out all the problems of the previous DC films, and in fact, there's some real problems with this. Actually, some of the CG is just blatant when it changes over, especially the certain superhero that comes back from the dead. Some of his CG is just, oh dear God, awful. There are some nice comedy bits. As I said, it does involve a change of direction and not everything being bleak and miserable and all the rest of it. And that is actually quite welcome. Some levity doesn't drain you as much. But the Flash, we got to talk about the Flash character. He is clearly the comic relief, far too much. In this, and yeah, he pretty much said almost everything he says is a joke, and even me, I have limits on that, and there was a couple of times that I genuinely wanted him to shut up, just because of reasons. But overall, the actors, actresses, and what have you, for the most part, actually work very well together. They did. It's clear that they didn't hate each other, at the very least. But there, in a strange sort of way, this was borderline even too far ridiculous. Again, notwithstanding comic book film standards or anything like that, where it is all just bloody ridiculous at times. It's... We'll put it this way. There's a couple of members of the team that shouldn't have survived because that's just ridiculous. Because they don't have any powers or anything. They're rubbish. But it's... I'm not sure if it's enough to keep the DC universe in anything other than a mess right now. I still think they should have learnt the lessons and actually focused on the solo films first before bringing them all back together, because there was a good number of things. I tell you what, the exposition... There you go. There's another criticism. The exposition that they had to go through as quickly as humanly possible was... a bit much at times, but again, it could have been just because they were hamstrung by shoving everything else out at the same time in Batman v Superman, honestly. But I tell you what, though, it's not as bad as you think it would have been. I mean, don't get me wrong. I haven't come out, with too bad of a feeling, except for one thing. Because there's a very much an end credits stinger, like a setup for inevitably the next film, I do have to warn you, if you didn't like Lex Luthor in Batman v Superman, you may not like what's coming next. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. But anyway, campers, Batman v Superman notwithstanding, obviously all the meh that happened with that, and obviously all the meh that's happened with this production and so forth, would I recommend you go and watch Justice League? I would lean more to yes right now rather than no. I mean, don't get me wrong, plenty of problems, some CGI awful. They have to rush through an awful lot of stuff, have to explain an awful lot of stuff because things going mildly wrong. But the cast mainly work well together. And a couple of the highlights, Gal Gadot, once again, as Wonder Woman. Ben Ben Affleck is not too bad, again, as Batman. He's pretty much in keeping with Batman vs. Superman. But I will... there's one performance I would actually like to say that was... It was welcome that he was allowed to be nice again and not be all... After obviously waking up and going on a little bit of a rampage because he was a bit out of it. It was nice to see that he got a bit more time and actually a little bit more ability to be, well, the hero we know and loved in various shape and forms of media over the years. So it's a very, I will say this, it's a tentative go and watch it at the cinema. Because if you're a fan of comic book films, this is not god-awful. Christ, it's terrible even saying that. I appreciate that. But I tell you what, Warner Brothers and DC have done far worse so far. This is not their worst. And again, it could be, you could interpret that as the bar being set so low that anything above that would be, yay. And that certainly could be the case here. I don't disagree. You know, there's plenty of things that you could bring up about this that just some of it just doesn't work. But there were some cool moments in this. There were. So it's not like you wouldn't be at least, you know, entertained and not completely bored. Far from it. So tentative, yes, go and watch Justice League, and yay! So that's it from me in a rather empty shopping mall and an empty cinema, especially at this time of the day. I've been Paul Hughes. I still will be Paul Hughes until as such time as I don't want to be. And until next time, campers, take it easy, and I will see you all again on the YouTubes soon. I'm going to go sleep now. Bye!